Hey everyone, just a reminder that I'll be hosting a screening of Cyclops and Miracle Bunny 2 at the Guild Cinema in Albuquerque, New Mexico on August 9th. Check out the links in the episode description and follow us on Instagram and Blue Sky for ticketing and other information on this event. Enjoy the episode.
Rewatched Public Enemies. Michael Mann.
Haven't seen it.
You know what? You give me a fucking period piece and it's done well. I enjoy it. I think it's pretty good.
Marion Cotillard in that movie. I think that is like, she is so gorgeous and alluring.
You don't like Depp?
He's fine. There's a lot of other people in that. It's Christian Bale. Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of people in the gang that I'm not remembering right now.
Yeah, it's fucking Stephen Dorff in there.
That's right.
Billy Crudup. He plays J. Edgar Hoover.
Stephen Lang.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and I did 28 Weeks Later. Damn,
I think I may have successfully dodged seeing that because my significant other is a big fan of the other two. I think that they suck ass. So I definitely don't want to see the third one in theaters. I think at this point, it's probably like towards the end of its run and she hasn't brought it up. So I think I may have dodged a bullet.
So I don't think it's come out yet.
Oh, shit. It's not even out?
And even more breaking news. There's going to be 2 more after that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yay.
It's been forever since I've seen them. I don't remember fondly or disfondly.
It was alright.
Yeah. I don't like zombie movies in the first place, and people can fucking be super pedantic and say it's a rage virus. They're not zombies, but functionally they are zombies. And, I mean, the first one is just shot on fucking a digital camcorder, which means it's going to look like shit forever. It can never look better than it does.
Yeah, there were parts of that second one. I was just like, I don't even know where is it falling? Did they throw it in the air? Like, what the fuck's going on? Yeah, I don't know. Is Danny Boyle a good director?
I don't know that I've seen anything other than those movies.
I do love Trainspotting. That is one of the movies that got me into film, that made me start thinking about it as an art form to tell different stories, and do it, in a stylistic manner. So I do have a soft spot for that. It's been a long time since I've gone through. Slumdog Millionaire won Best Picture. It's like, statistically, you would have to say, like, he is in a conversation of people that you can say are good directors.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I've only seen 28 Days Later. Although I'm looking at, he did direct National Theater Live, Frankenstein, starring Benedict Cumberbatch and Johnny Lee Miller from Hackers.
I've seen those. It's actually, they would switch off every other night, where one's the monster and one's the doctor. They're actually pretty well done.
Yeah, I didn't
know it was Danny Boyle.
Be interested in seeing that. I don't know if is that like a stage play? Maybe he directed like the recording of the stage play, I'm guessing. And
a stage play will have a director, so it could be him for that, but...
Yeah, there is another guy who, like a co-director, Tim Van Summeren, who I assume is like the guy that was actually directing the play, because all of his other stuff seems like it's like Hans Zimmer Live or Macbeth, starring Kenneth Branagh.
I watched a Macbeth a few years ago.
The Lion King?
No, that's a good movie though.
Denzel?
To get ready for the one with Denzel. And then I got like 20 minutes into that one and I was like, I don't care about this. Was it good? I don't.
Fine.
Didn't see it.
I watched it for the Oscars. definitely an Oscar movie. It was an interesting Coen production.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of seeming to go in different directions now.
Terrible mistake. Terrible career choice, if you ask me.
Yeah, and I guess this is why we have you on the show, Murph, because you've seen everything. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dead Formats, a movie podcast where each episode we talk about the types of movies that just aren't made anymore. I'm your host, Chris, and this episode we're going to be discussing the Jericho Mile from 1979. And today I'm joined by two very special guests, a couple of them sharp kind of dudes. Murph, Dan, welcome. How are you doing this evening?
Oh, splendid, Chris. Thank you for having me.
Excellent. Happy to be here.
And how are you, Chris? No? All right.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I was distracted for a second. No, I'm doing great. Glad to have you guys back on the show. Murph is one half of the weekly podcast Massacre, and Dan is 1/3 of the 5-Day Rentals podcast. If you listen to this show, you know all about them, so I'm not going to make these guys do their elevator pitches for weekly podcast Massacre or 5DR. But Dan, you actually have a new podcast out there since the last time we spoke. So why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's DK and Dan Like Bands. DK has been featured on Chris's show here multiple times as well, along with ours. And has he been on Weekly Pod yet? Not yet.
No, we have had very few guests.
Yeah, that's right.
I think you've had
Get 'em
one
on.
from my memory. And
They've had two.
you know, there was some category fraud with that last one, but
No,
we don't have to get into that.
Day rentals, and then yes, there are things we shall not talk about here.
But yeah, we cover heavy metal, hard rock. We do album reviews, recommendations. We do top 3 for me. So if you're into that shit, DK and Dan Like Bands. We're bi-weekly. You know, we're loving that. So check it out.
Hell yeah. Everyone be sure to go listen to that. Got Dan on there, and as he said, returning champ DK, who may has been on the show more than anyone except Bones, who has also been on DK and Dan Like Bands. Just this little incestuous podcasting crew we have.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite fun though. You know, I tune into Dead Formats and all my pod buddies are there. It's good.
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
I enjoy it too. And our Dead Format this week is another made-for-TV movie, but one with a little bit of a higher pedigree than the other films we've discussed on this show so far. Were either of you familiar with the Jericho Mile before watching it for this cast?
I must have heard of it, looked at it because of listening to Blank Check Podcast. I went through all the Michael Mann movies with them, and I did not see it at the time, but they must have discussed it at some point, but I just blocked it out of my mind, never even thought about it again. And then you messaged me, and I figured, well, so I love prison movies. I love prison television, so I might as well, dive into this Dead Format.
Yeah, I've always heard about it. I knew it was his first thing that he did. I recently watched Straight Time, I believe, with Dustin Hoffman, maybe last year, which I really enjoyed. And I know he's an uncredited writer on that. So
He certainly is.
that kind of doing some research on that movie, I was like, oh shit, I need to check that out. And yeah, I just never got around to it.
Yeah, I think I just probably was looking at him on Letterboxd like a year ago and saw this and realized I've literally never heard anyone talk about this. So I watched it, enjoyed it, and here we are today discussing it. And the reason I picked you two specifically to talk about this one is because, and I've said this to your respective co-hosts in private, is that you two are the ones on your shows that like good movies. And so, knowing the theme of my show, it's kind of hard to, I was trying to think of things you guys might like that fit into, the theme of this show, but are actually like legitimately good movies because, you know, Dan's always picking fucking Motorcycle Boy. Seconds was a Murph and Dan collab on the 5DR show. So you guys like good movies. And for me, you know, I'm watching random shit that never made it past VHS. So it was a little hard to think of like, okay, what's a good movie for Murph and Dan to come on and talk about? And
right.
This
You've
one
just got all these Japanese magazine videos that you're like going through. I understand.
Yeah.
It's a lot to dig through.
And it is like sort of important for me to pick out things that I think people will like. So I'm glad I found this one.
Well,
I am
thank
too.
you.
I found an excuse. Even before you sent me the file, I looked on YouTube and there is a 1080p version. So I've been watching that. And yeah, I mean, where do you want to start?
Yeah. I mean, that's a good place to start is that this movie. So there is a Blu-ray from Kino Lorber. I think that came out pretty recently because I think part of the reason people haven't seen this is that historically it's pretty difficult to watch. I know I talked to Bones about it and he said that, he had it, you know, bookmarked on YouTube, but then it got taken down. And that's pretty much the only way that you could have watched it for a very long time, like a VHS rip on YouTube, because until this recent Kino Lorber Blu-ray, like there's no way to watch it, which is kind of crazy because this is the feature-length directorial debut of Michael Mann. And are you guys Mann's men? I know, Dan, you said you just rewatched Public Enemies.
I have what I think is a love-hate or a hate-love relationship with him. I'll say that because I'm always like Miami Vice. I don't think I like that. And then I'm like, let me throw it on. And I'm like, this is fucking good. And I'm like Collateral. And I'm like, oh yeah, damn, that's good. And of course you got Heat, which is fucking amazing. But yeah, I would say that I am a man's man. I'm not on my other show, so I would have got called a man's boy or something like that. So I'm just happy I could say that here and not have 2 third degrees come back at me.
This is a safe space, no matter your opinion on Michael Mann. So
yeah, I'm sorry for insulting you guys for the first 10 minutes. That was wrong of me to do that.
It was wrong, but I wasn't going to bring it up because I think, frankly, Murph and I would just like to move past it and let those wounds heal.
Yeah.
Well, as a fellow Michael, I obviously have to appreciate all of his artwork for what it is. But I think I would consider myself a man's man. I've seen all of his films. I generally like every one of them that he's done. I saw Ferrari twice in theaters. I thought it was really good.
So
even though
this one completed the set for you.
True. Actually, I should probably go back because I know there's a couple other like TV movies that he did because he did basically Heat before. Yeah, and I need to read Heat 2. I have it on the bookshelf. And I'm excited to see him do Heat 2. I do love older directors coming back and doing things. I kind of liked Black Hat, what I saw of it. I don't think I saw like the short version, and I would like to see the longer one. But overall, yeah, I'm into him. I wouldn't say he's my top guy, but I generally like what he's done.
Yeah, I would say I'm pretty much the same. Like, I think what I've seen about half of his movies. There are some of the like heavy hitters. I think Collateral and Last of the Mohicans are like the big ones I haven't seen. I also haven't seen Ferrari, but I don't really have a gauge on like how esteemed that is in his filmography. I feel like it's probably like one of his more popular movies on Letterboxd just because of the recency
bias.
Yeah.
And the fact that it'd been almost a decade. I'm trying to think when Black Hat came out, but I think, Manhunter is a pretty great masterpiece.
Yeah.
I do love Thief. I think Thief looks tremendous. The neon on the wet streets, like he really kind of defined a look, and the whole Miami Vice vibe, like really set for the 80s pop culture, just like really cemented him. And I'm surprised he didn't do like a lot more. It seems like once Black Hat happened, it was just kind of like gone. He did Luck on HBO, and that also failed, which I do need to watch. And I think he's done something in Tokyo Vice that I should check out as well.
Yeah, he was like the creator of the show, and he directed at least the first episode. I don't know.
The first two, maybe.
Yeah, I can't remember how many he did, and that was like...
You know why they do that? If you direct the pilot episode, since you set the tone and like the visual language, you get a check for every single episode in perpetuity.
Wow. I did not know that.
So that's why it's nice to be JJ. You direct Lost and then you get a bunch of checks for just like maybe writing a couple notes here and there.
Murph, how many checks have you been hiding from Greg?
We do it for $, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, in that case, how many things have you signed in his name?
How many credit cards do you have?
Only a few.
All right.
In this country.
Sweet.
Well, yeah,
that's what I do too, so don't worry.
I did rewatch Thief last night. It's only the second time I had seen it, and I was like, I had given it a 3 on Letterboxd the first time, and after watching it again, I was like, 3 is low. Very good. Heat, definitely a top 100, possibly a top 10 movie for me. I know it is like super film bro to love Heat, but it's fucking, I love that movie. I did watch Miami Vice once and I was like, I don't like this. What the fuck is going on? Although apparently there was like some production troubles with that where I guess Jamie Foxx like just quit the movie at some point. So there's not really an ending to it. That might have something to do with it.
And I know there's a longer version. I think I've seen that one. And I think it has more of his vibe. I came around to it. I didn't see it when it came out. It was much later on. But I do remember when it came out, it was when I was going to film school, and there was just a giant banner of Miami Vice for months after that movie bombed. It was like no one wanting to even pay to take that thing down.
Yeah, I actually probably watched it within the last year for the first time. So I also am seeing it far removed from when it came out. But I don't know if my opinion would have been any different in 2006.
Collateral didn't bring you back in?
So that's one of the heavy hitters I haven't seen.
Okay.
But
as you're saying, that is, shot on like DV, so it's always going to look like shit.
Oh, it's one of those. I didn't know that.
But you do have crazy Tom Cruise. Mark Ruffalo has a pretty good little part in there. Jamie Foxx, I think, can carry a movie, and he has a great charisma. I always love when someone with charisma like plays a loser. I think that's just like, it's really like an endearing quality of him, of his character arc of, stepping up to a assassin.
I think he does a decent job in that. Did he get an Oscar nod for that? I think maybe not.
I think that was definitely one of Tom Cruise's few Oscar nominations, but I'm not sure about Fox.
I don't.
Yeah, I know. Didn't he get one for that weird Adam Sandler, like I play the violin movie? Or is that someone else?
Oh, The Soloist.
Those are Robert Downey Jr., right?
Yeah, where he played the cello.
Okay. Maybe the one I'm thinking, was it maybe like Adam Sandler and Don Cheadle where like
Reign Over Me.
His family died in 9/11. I think I'm combining two different movies.
That's that one, yeah. No, Dan, you were right. It is Jamie Foxx for supporting role.
Okay.
Cruise wasn't nominated.
Nobody nominates
Also nominated for film editing.
Was it Mann that did it?
No.
Probably not.
Jim Miller, Paul Rubel.
He probably spent 8 months shadowing a movie editor and then made a movie about it.
I've read
We haven't even talked about Ali. I remember seeing that on Christmas Day.
I also haven't seen that one.
I haven't seen it since.
Yeah, I've seen this, Heat, Thief, Manhunter, Insider, Miami Vice. The Keep is one that I've always been saving, partially because it, like this movie, for the longest time, there was just no way to watch it other than a VHS. I can't remember who recently put that out, probably Arrow or someone like that. But I'm just like, it's weird because everyone says it's not very good. On paper, I mean, a horror movie by Michael Mann sounds great.
Yeah, and it's got Glenn Scott, I think, in it. And, he's really great. The Tangerine Dream soundtrack is phenomenal, but it doesn't come together. It has a great vibe, and a lot of the lighting is really cool. But overall, it is kind of a forgettable, big budget, sophomore slump.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one yet.
Disappointing. I mean, so apart from being man's men, are either of you guys big made-for-TV movie fans? Do you have any favorites that you remember from your childhood or later?
I was thinking about this, but I don't fucking remember any of them.
Right. Mm.
And I'm watching this and I'm like, this is a little rough for the kids. And then I'm like, this is just made for TV. This isn't like the after school special. Like I would have to tell myself, this isn't like Scared Straight or some shit, Although, hey, Folsom Prison, it didn't look that bad, TV.
There is a race riot in there.
Yeah.
Minus all that, I'm just like the cell. You got a TV and shit. I'm like, all right, you're kind of just walking around. I mean, I got to be on good behavior though. So, but yeah, I don't remember any like TV movies.
I'm just thinking of a lot of the HBO ones that I had watched. Specific, because I want something that like has commercial breaks. Because there are feelings where I can like, oh, this is probably where the commercial like is cutting from. Yeah. Which is a dead format. There really isn't that kind of idea anymore of like, you're preparing to pause it for a moment. It
is nice, but it also is like somewhat jarring at times, because a lot of it is like, watching this one in particular, it's sort of the commercial breaks were in this movie seem to be used to sort of skip forward in time a little bit and elide some of the details that you would usually have. It is pretty brisk. It's like an hour and 37 minutes or so. But I do appreciate that. No one's out there doing fades to black anymore other than, I guess, George Lucas. He hasn't made a movie in like 20 years, though.
Yeah, Metallica.
I'm still hoping.
But yeah, I mean, I enjoy made-for-TV movies. That's no secret. There's a lot of them that I want to talk about eventually. It's a really easy thing to mine as a dead format because, with the exception of like Lifetime, they don't exist anymore. And I would argue that those are not really made for TV because they are also like released simultaneously to streaming, like Discovery Plus or whichever service has the rights to Lifetime. I think it's Discovery Plus. But
and they're becoming a parody of themselves.
For sure.
But I do agree. I think like miniseries is also maybe something
so good.
That's kind of in there, like the It miniseries. Yeah. I also really like the Thornbirds and Shogun, obviously, like those kind of things back from the day.
It was, I mean, we still like ostensibly we have those today, but we call them a limited series now. But There's just something that hits different about like the 70s through 90s. This is a mini series. This is event television. I certainly had like the It miniseries recorded on a VHS because it was like, oh, this is on. We got to watch it. It's going to be amazing. It's just, it feels different.
Was Tommy Knockers like made for TV?
That was a miniseries, yeah.
Lots of Stephen King stuff. Rose Red was another one.
Right.
Salem's
Psycho
Lot.
4, The Beginning, was also a made-for-TV movie.
Okay.
Yeah, there was also a made-for-TV movie that was supposed to be a pilot that no one seems to know exists called Bates Motel, which is not the Bates Motel from a few years ago. It's a TV movie starring Bud Cort as, I want to say, he was,
Okay.
I think he was Norman Bates. I'm fairly certain that's true. I did watch it, and like basically all I remember is that it was good except for the parts where they were like, oh, this is going to be a series, so we have to set up the series, which is kind of a recurring theme with made-for-TV movies that are actually pilots.
This isn't a backdoor. Like, I don't feel like there's more to the story that they could do. I'm sure that there was some executive of like, no, I got it planned out. There's going to be a race every week. But this does feel pretty contained.
A race or a race war?
Yeah.
Both.
Yeah, so a little bit of backstory on this one is that Michael Mann's career in film, I guess, really got started in the realm of television as a writer. So he wrote episodes for Starsky and Hutch, Police Story, and a few others. And in his words, he was kind of like the flavor of the week writer for crime-based TV shows in like the early to mid 70s. And he had an interest in this crime stuff. But in 1977, he was writing for a film that Dan mentioned earlier called Straight Time. And it was supposed to be directed by and starring Dustin Hoffman. But I think soon into the production, Dustin Hoffman was like, I can't do both of these things at the same time. So he stopped directing. But that movie was based on a book called No Beast So Fierce, and it was written by an ex-con named Eddie Bunker. So during that time, Mann spent a lot of time with Eddie Bunker and even visited Folsom Prison. And so Jericho Mile is like he rewrote a script that ABC had bought and just was sitting on the shelf. And so he rewrote this and was heavily influenced by his visit to Folsom and the time he spent with Eddie Bunker. It was shot on location in Folsom Prison while normal prison operations were going on, and he hired about 30 inmates to act in the film. Absolutely crazy to think about today that this was allowed to happen, but it was a different time back then.
You know, a lot of stuff happening there. You get the Jericho Mile. You get to see. There's probably a guy that's seen the Jericho Mile go through. Johnny Cash. What did Metallica played there? I think for Saint Anger when that came out. So there's probably a dude that's like, I've got to see some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a lifer, so he's experienced a lot.
We don't want to talk about that.
It is a pretty major cultural touchstone now. Of course, with Johnny Cash and other people playing, it is always great to have some authenticity, and I believe them. I mean, they're not great acting, but man, it is pretty fantastic. I feel like I can tell like a few like, oh, that's probably someone mixed into the population.
Yeah. So I read an interview with him. The website is escaping me because there's no director's commentary for this because they just released it on disc for the first time recently. So there's not a whole lot of like firsthand information from Michael Mann about this. But this one interview, he was saying like he hired 30 inmates, 10 from each of these major gangs because he didn't want to cause problems. It was just a very like crazy production thing. And like he was saying that the warden was basically like, there's going to be violence happening. That's just a reality. Because Michael Mann said that at this time, about 75 people were being murdered at the prison every year. So the warden's like, we're not going to shut production down if there's violence. But if there's a race war or a riot, then we'll shut it down. So Michael Mann got this dude, Eddie Bunker, to basically like go to each of these gangs, give them the lowdown and be like, hey, like, you got to fucking behave yourselves. Otherwise, it's going to get shut down. So he said there were times where like they were shooting and just off to the side, someone was stabbed. Just a bunch of crazy shit.
I think, didn't I read that the inmates were like respected Eddie more than anybody else and would bring him like drinks and shit like that?
Yeah, let me find that dude's name because I don't want to get it wrong. Yes, so Rubio, played by Miguel Pinheiro, he in this movie is the leader of the Mexican mafia. He was like a criminal that went on to like become a writer, and I think he won a Tony Award. So he he served time at San Quentin. He was actually at Attica prison when the riots occurred. So that dude had a lot of respect from the inmates because he at one time was one of them.
Hell yeah. Maybe Metallica played at San Quentin. Sorry, Folsom guys, don't at me, please.
We're just begging to be shanked in this episode.
Yeah.
I mean, I shanked myself.
We get anything wrong.
I got my mile down to 4 minutes for this episode, and I shanked myself. So.
But it is like one of the things that I will probably bring up several times. It's like so many of the things you see in like his Michael Mann's later films, like Thief or Heat, like they start here. It's crazy to see how fully formed like his thematic style is and like the things that he keeps coming back to. I think if I had told you guys, hey, just watch this, and you knew nothing about it, you might be like, man, that seems like Michael Mann probably loves this movie. He may have been inspired by it because his stamp is really, at least, you know, on a scripting thematic level, his stamp is all over this one.
Right. He really is kind of an outsider when you think about major American movie directors who it's like not a really like thorough career. He seems to really want to do what he wants to. I guess he's adapting books like Manhunter, Last of the Mohicans. Mm-hmm. Heat's a readaptation of something he's already done. Insider's a true story. Ali's a true story. Collateral, I'm not really sure where that came from. Miami Vice is again a repeat of something he's already done. Public Enemies, again, a true story. Black Hat, and then Ferrari. I mean, it is a very fascinating idea, like, to what he would do. And I think this is a very, man-centered theme of crime, of trying to overcome where you're from, to test yourself, to see if you can actually do better and more.
An exercise of the mindset of where you're at. Do you think if it was an actual, like a movie company that said, let's do this movie, it would be, the details there, but I don't think it's as much as a Thief or a Heat, you know, where he gets obsessed with the one guy, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I see it, but I don't, like you said, made for TV. So I don't know how much dollars he's working with here.
Yeah, there's limitations, definitely.
Well, I think part of it is that this is stuff that we kind of know about now. I mean, since then, there's been a million like, oh, this is the way things are in prison. I mean, and as you alluded to earlier, Dan, like Scared Straight came out the year before this. So many things that they say in Scared Straight reminds me of the things that are said in this movie, which is kind of like, well, there's that classic man verisimilitude, like we're trying to do this as realistic as possible. I think the details definitely are there, but I think for us, it may not seem that way because we have grown up in a society where we're exposed to this sort of thing through the media. Like there's reality shows about people in prison. There's, you know, Oz, the HBO series, and all of these things. But
I love Oz.
Yeah. I mean, maybe when someone was watching this on TV, this could have been their first exposure to prison culture. And that could have been the first time they're like, oh, I didn't realize that there were, you know, gangs split along racial lines, and just this sort of knowledge that maybe we take for granted today because of things like the Jericho Mile.
Yeah, I could see that mind blown in 79 there. It's like that train coming out of the screen, man. Funny story about Oz. Where I used to work, we would have the library would turn in like old shit that they were getting rid of to send off, and they would have books and DVDs and video games and shit. So a guy I worked with found Oz in there, and he was like, "Yo, like, have you ever seen this?" And I was like, "No, I've never seen it, but I know it's pretty wild." But of course, being like just like shitty discs and scratch discs that they were getting rid of, he only had like seasons 2, 3, and like 5, I think. But he still would continue to watch them at lunch every day, like on his computer. He would just put the DVD in. So I was like, you're not even completing the series, dude. And he's like, I don't care. This is so good. And
this is quality television. Prestige.
So people would walk in and just be like, what the hell? Like, it would be going off on his computer. He wouldn't even pause it. I'm like, man, you gotta like pause it when people come in, dude. Like, they can't be hearing this stuff. They're just like, what the fuck? And some people would be like, yo, you watching Oz?
Yeah,
man.
The only thing I think my parents watched it. I wasn't allowed to for obvious reasons, but I feel like there was an episode where there was just some guy standing in front of a mirror, like eating shit or smearing shit. That's like the only scene from Oz that sticks out in my head.
That rings a bell. There's a lot, It pushed the boundaries.
Is the only time you walked by Chris while they were watching it? And that's what you got?
Yeah, and I mean, the only time I walked by while The Sopranos was on was this episode where he was talking about his dad chopping someone's finger off. I was basically like George Michael Bluth in Arrested Development, accidentally watching shows on HBO.
Michael. Murph, were you just allowed to watch whatever you wanted because your parents were awesome?
Okay,
well, you can admit it.
Neglectful, there's different words for that. I guess, about around 10 is when it was like, well, I guess free for all, started watching horror and R-rated movies. I remember early on was Virtuosity and Showgirls, flipping channels between those and like getting real eyefuls for the 7-year-old. But yeah, I did watch Oz pretty much when it was ending, and I was watching Sopranos in high school.
Yeah, I still watch Sopranos.
Yeah, I just rewatched it like within the last 6 months.
I'm finishing a rewatch right now.
Good shit.
12 more episodes. Yeah, it's great.
I just finished.
I'm getting through all the Johnny Cake stuff, and I'm like, oh, that shit hit so hard back in the day, too.
Yeah, I just finished the episode where they talk to Vito's kid, like he's goth and stuff.
Fucking taking a shit in the shower at school.
That was the episode.
Yeah, I mean, let's just get into the plot of this bad boy, shall we?
Let's do it, Chris.
And as always, feel free to interrupt as often as you like. I know that neither of you have a problem doing that, but always got to throw it out there.
Yeah, never interrupted.
Yeah, this is a besmirch on my character. That will not stand.
Can't believe you think that.
But the movie begins with a montage of inmates doing inmate shit in the yard of Folsom Prison, set to a song that sounds suspiciously like Sympathy for the Devil by the Rolling Stones.
It does make you question, like, wait, hold on. Are you going to just start going into the woo woo?
Yeah, you wait for it every time. Dudes are pumping iron, braiding each other's hair, playing cards, shooting hoops. And in the midst of all these tatted up bad boys, we see two men.
Wait,
one,
you're not gonna talk about we open with the guy dancing with the boombox?
No.
Oh my god, this guy's got some moves. And we come back to him in the end, but man, like that I just love that is the motif of the music. We have this diegetic music that we think he's listening to while dancing, and the two guys running.
Yes. And anytime any character that says less than 5 lines in this, you can pretty much assume they are an actual inmate. So this is just some real inmate getting his groove on. It's good shit.
I love it.
It's cool that he's doing this, but I think I'm more obsessed with the guy that's wearing the paper bag hat. Did you guys?
I didn't even clock that.
No.
It's like a paper bag and it's like folded into a hat. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. So one thing that is weird, I did rewatch Scared Straight because I've just seen it so many times. I quote it at least weekly. But one thing that I haven't really looked into it, but is weird about prison at this time is that people wore like street clothes. Like you didn't have a jumpsuit. So I don't know what the deal with that was of like, did you just have to, your family or friends brought you clothes and that's what you wore? And like, hopefully it doesn't get fucked up. But yeah, there's just a lot of street clothes going on in this movie.
I did read that, man said that they were super interested in like their own styles and shit like that. And yeah, when you see the male guy, he's got like poster rolls and shit like that he's delivering. So I was like, can I just send them like whatever they want? I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah, it seems weird. I don't know. You would think like, I always think of the past as being worse than the present, but it seems like prison life has actually gotten worse.
No, there's
worse.
Convenience now, but there was a charm to having to wait for things back then. We're sorely missing.
Yeah, for sure. So in the midst of this shit that's going on in the yard, we see 2 men, one named Larry Rain Murphy, played by Peter Strauss.
So this is why you had me on, is it not? You said like, oh, Murphy likes good movies, but we all know.
Until you just said
know.
I actually hadn't thought of that. I forget.
Come on.
Really?
Yes.
Lickety split.
I expect you to introduce yourself as Rain Murphy from now on. So
Rain's not a bad first name.
I'm not sure where it comes from. They never explain that.
Right.
Doesn't matter, but yeah, so he's played by Peter Strauss, which I guess at this time, like he was a big TV actor. He was in a miniseries called Rich Man, Poor Man, which I have not seen, but I plan on watching it.
I have heard of that, yeah.
I think Nick Nolte is also in that, I think. So probably pretty good.
I love Nolte. All right.
And he, along with his friend R.C. Styles, played by Richard Lawson, who I know from the miniseries of V, they are running around a makeshift track. And there's a guy who writes for the prison newspaper going around, and he's interviewing the various prison gangs for the sports section of, I want to say it was called The Folsom Observer. I think it's in like one shot of the movie.
Yeah, I think Warden's reading it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
it's good. You got their own paper and stuff.
It's like high school, but with more shanking.
I don't know.
I guess it depends which high school you went to.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Black Gorilla family, they're describing their workout routine. The Mexican Mafia they're hyping up their handball skills. And the White Gang, the Bluebirds, they're just talking about getting drunk. And so this Bluebirds gang is apparently like the precursor to the Aryan Brotherhood, which is presently and for my whole life like the dominant white gang in prisons. And the leader of the Bluebirds is the dastardly Dr. D, played by Brian Dennehy.
Ugh.
And he says that they're out of sugar for their Pruno still, and he instructs Jimmy Jack, played by Burton Gilliam, to go ask the Mexican Mafia for some supplies. So, do we want to get into it right away about Brian Dennehy being in this movie?
I mean, you want to talk about a man's man? Oof, come on. One of the best to ever do it.
Tommy boy, give me some sugar.
I cannot think of him as anything other than Tommy Boy's dad. Maybe we'll talk about it as we go on, but I feel like it's a very strange casting and performance.
Yeah.
He's given some wild eyes. Yeah. He's, in peak form, which is not like ever been like great. But even in the 70s, everyone's like, yeah, roll with it. Great. He's looking good.
And so his underling, Jimmy Jack, he's played by Burton Gilliam, which most people will know from Blazing Saddles. Yep. But if you grew up in the DFW area, you will know him as the guy who is in the commercials for a local dealership called Rodeo Ford. And that is what I know him from. So when I see him in movies, I'm like, oh, that's the guy from the Rodeo Ford commercial. I will play that at the end of this episode. I'm pretty sure I've posted it in the 5DR Discord at one point, but goddamn.
He's like your own Ernest.
Basically, yes.
Yeah.
It's exactly like that.
He had to be like runner up, right? All right, if we can't get Ernest, like this is the next guy in line to play Ernest.
Well, so he's from Dallas, so it's like he's fucking royalty there. That's like Tom Hanks being in a commercial from wherever the fuck he's from. I have no idea.
Do you remember like the song for Rodeo Ford?
Yes, because the only word was trucks.
They made a whole song with just one word.
Trucks. That's the song. And then he would come in, like the announcer would be like, Rodeo Ford. And it was about getting a truck for $11,888. And he would come in and he'd go, by God, that's too cheap. Yeah. I'm sure everyone, I remember the last time I was watching it on YouTube with my significant other who is from Texas. And she was just like, is this why the rest of the country hates us? And I was like, yeah, it is.
You gotta have fun with it, though.
Yeah.
Oh, no, man, there's too many words in this song. Just
trucks.
Trucks. That's all you need.
Simplify.
So, yeah. Time's up on the yard. The prisoners are ordered to go back to their cells. The runner, Murphy, he's sucking wind in his cell, cooling down, stretching, when his cell neighbor, Stiles, receives a letter from his wife with a picture of his newborn baby girl. And Stiles bemoans the fact that his next conjugal visit is 3 months away, and Murphy says, can't do time, don't mess with crime, that's the price of rehabilitation. And this is
my
a
love
line...
life never need no rehabilitation.
This is a line that is repeated almost verbatim by James Caan in Thief, which is one of those things that allows me to know that this is something Michael Mann heard from an actual convict and became obsessed with.
He slipped his whole life by. He didn't have the time, so he didn't do the crime.
At least it's authentic.
Yeah. And so we see their cells. Stiles, his cell is decorated with a bunch of pictures of his wife, his newborn daughter, shit all over the walls. Murphy, very Spartan existence, just an empty cell, probably exactly the way it came when he moved in.
He's done a little, work on it. He's worked on the pipes.
Yeah. So
he's installed some hanging equipment.
I mean, like Dan was saying, it's like, it seems nice because like there's like a porcelain sink in there. You don't see that in prisons nowadays.
It's all steel and cold.
Yeah, imagine shitting on one of those today. Damn.
Well, I don't think they shit in the sink.
Well, it's basically a combo. You use prison rules in every public bathroom. Once shit hits water, flush. That should be posted on the walls.
Courtesy flush.
And that's how I'm going to make America great in 2029.
It's like, that's what you get arrested for.
Our prison news reporter is discussing the latest athletic goings-on at Folsom with the prison psychologist, Dr. Jankowski. So he is credited as Jankowski. I think the actors in this movie had some confusion. Sometimes he's called Janowski. I'm going with Jankowski. But this is played by Jeffrey Lewis, who will best be known from 10 to Midnight.
Ooh. He is a returning champion for Weekly Podcast Massacre. He was, of course, in Night of the Comet.
Yeah.
Isn't he Pirates of the Caribbean guy?
I think that's Jeffrey Rush.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Lewis is 10 to Midnight, Devil's Rejects.
Okay.
Juliette Lewis's father.
I've only found that out, I may have found that out from your podcast, Murph. I never knew that.
That might have been when I found it out, and I was also very surprised.
They don't look anything alike.
He
seems like too old to be her dad.
She was married to Brad Welk, the drummer for Rage Against the Machine.
Pacino and De Niro are out there having kids in their 80s, so who am I to judge? Dr. Jankowski says that Murphy was just remanded to him for counseling, so he's curious to know why Murphy is always running. The reporter just says that he's a goof, a nutter who doesn't talk to anybody. Jankowski asks the reporter to time Murphy tomorrow to see how fast he's running. One thing I noticed last night when I was watching Thief is how often James Caan calls people a goof. It seems out of place in this movie, and then you see it in Thief, and you're like, okay, I'm sure maybe inmates were just calling each other goofs in the 70s.
He's got his own language, yeah. You got to be sly on the inside.
I guess that's true. You don't want to say anything too offensive because you don't want to get fucking murdered.
Chris, have you seen Straight Time?
I haven't.
Murph?
I have not.
All right.
I'll definitely think about watching it at some point. I don't want to be too committal about it. I don't think I'm a huge Dustin Hoffman fan. I haven't seen too many of his movies, but I don't think I've seen any where I'm just like, wow, I gotta seek out the rest of this dude's stuff.
Not even Tootsie?
Haven't seen it.
Oh.
I think I'm a bigger Dustin Hoffman fan, and I've realized that through this, I guess my older age, because I love Marathon Man. I'm like, God damn, that's so good.
Haven't seen it.
It's been a while, but that was good. I remember Runaway Jury was a big when it came out. I was like the perfect age for that kind of legal thriller.
God, now I have to fucking look up Dustin Hoffman, see if I've actually seen him in any star of 146 films.
Well, if it makes you feel like Gary Busey
Hook
is married.
Is the shit.
He's
movie
good.
rules.
He's really good in Hook too. I rewatched it. Him and what's his name? Mario. I'm embarrassed to forget his name. Smee. Is really good.
Bob Hoskins. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Straight Time. Busey is married to. I fucking just had her name and I fucking blank on it. Oscar winner. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. Don't hold me to it. Keep going, Chris.
Is that like a prequel to The Rage? Like Gary Busey's in prison and we see his dick get mangled?
I wish. We don't. Well, he does say it. I thought he was married. I thought fucking what's her name was in this movie. Who's the chick from, I didn't see anything but your tits. Meryl Streep. I think he's married to Meryl Streep in that movie. I don't think she's credited, though.
Wow.
Don't hold me to that. Riveting podcasting.
I just want to say to all the aspiring actors out there, there was a time when Meryl Streep was uncredited, so could be you. You could be the next Streep.
How was my Nicholson impression?
I think it needs a little bit of work.
I didn't see anything.
Your Will Smith is perfect.
Yeah, I'm trying to get away from that.
Yeah, but
much.
you may not want to do that on camera. That might not be the best for your career.
After the slap, they asked me to fill in, and I was like, sorry, guys.
A paycheck's a paycheck.
Apparently, he has a new album out that is very parental advisory.
Is that going to be covered on DK and Dan like bands?
I don't think so.
Why not?
I mean, yeah, it could be, I guess. We're
Sounds
open.
like you're volunteering, Murph.
Yeah.
Well, bring me on. We'll get jiggy with it.
Hopefully we're in Miami. I got plans for you two. Don't worry.
Nightmare on My Street. That's another Will Smith song. Parents just don't understand.
Is that very early before the 90s Renaissance there?
The Willennium, as it
that
were.
was Will Better choice. Yes.
No, that was definitely like the Jazzy Jeff days. Murph, you've heard that Nightmare on My Street.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I was just waiting to say, you both could come out to the Wild Wild West and we could record there.
Almost a pick for 5-day rentals many times.
Well, I've been meaning to say, love to come back.
Don't worry, Murph. We'll get you. We had one guy stick with us for the whole category last time. He just wouldn't fucking leave.
Just what an idiot. Couldn't shake him.
Yeah. Dumbass. Thank you, Chris, by the way. Real trooper.
You're welcome.
And Murph, if you want to come on for 3, go ahead, baby. I don't care.
The sun sets on Folsom Prison. Murphy is still doing exercises in his cell, and Stiles is rereading the letter he received from his wife. Later that night, when everyone else in prison is asleep, Murphy unscrews the sink faucet in his cell, which allows him to remove a piece of pipe, which he uses as a makeshift pull-up bar.
Pretty badass.
Peter Strauss, I'm not really familiar with his game, but physically he looks great in this movie. I think he ran 70 miles a week in preparation for the role.
Mm-hmm.
He looks like a runner.
He's very lean. I never looked as good a day in my life.
For sure. Actually, I remember talking about this on another podcast, probably at least a year ago. I was watching this movie for the first time with my significant other. I have a mustache, but she was looking at this guy, Peter Strauss, and she was like, "You should grow out your hair." And I was like, my hair doesn't look like that. My hair is kind of shitty when it's long. But Peter Strauss has a beautiful mid-length mane of hair and mustache combo in this.
He's a handsome man. Going back to the whole man filmography, is this the most homoerotic movie of the man?
Damn.
It really lingers on him.
Yeah. I would say, there is a lot of like...
There's a lot in Heat.
Male gaze on men in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But there is like you were about to say, that thing in Heat and Manhunter where it's like, are you guys going to fuck or fight?
Yeah. That's more of the subtext of it, but there's never just a like, we're just going to watch a shirtless guy run for 30 seconds in slow motion.
I think it was the show that he got into the part and he worked on it, and now's the time for the camera to show that. Back 30.
Got it, flaunt it.
Back 30. Back 30.
Yeah. What, Dan?
He runs through the tapes.
That's the end.
That's how you do it.
The next morning, the reporter times Murphy's run. He tells Jankowski, and Jankowski tells the warden, Earl Gulliver, played by Billy Green Bush from Critters fame, that Murphy is running close to a 4-minute mile. That's really fucking fast. And the warden orders his secretary, Karen, to get Sacramento State track coach Jerry Beloit on the phone.
Maybe 9 minutes. Fastest mile for me.
Mm.
In the 9, I wouldn't even say close to 8. It'd be like 9:35, 9:45. That was 20 years ago.
I don't know that
I've never been
timed myself.
Long distance. I can't think of the last time I would have.
So 4 minutes. Oh my God, dude.
Yeah, the only time I remember, like, because I think it was part of the presidential fitness test doing a mile, but I remember like the criteria was so like any 12-year-old could do it. So I'm pretty sure I just walked the whole time. So I have no idea, even at my peak, what I could do. I don't know, 9 to 12 minute range, probably. Who the fuck knows?
my wife has just recently decided she wants to do, what is 13, a half marathon?
Yeah.
For some dumbass reason, which I support fully on, but so I've kind of been, and she's got like a training thing where she does something daily. So I'll go out there and just like run with her to, because I need to probably. But yeah, I was at like 11 minutes like last week. So.
That's pretty fucking good.
You should just get in the car and follow her like the guard does in this movie.
Just blaring
just,
the
offer
Rolling
encouragement.
Stones.
Yeah. You got a Gatorade, an energy bar, something.
Get out of the way, bitch.
Looking great, babe.
Think you're going to break it this time. Push harder. Yeah, Taylor Swift themed as well.
Taylor Swift themed workout?
13-mile run around Kansas City, Missouri. Taylor Swift.
At midnight?
Themed. I don't think so.
I believe that's the 5th level of hell you're describing.
Yeah, I was like, what are we doing?
I know you're trying to be supportive, but eventually there's going to be some bad blood between you.
I don't know what that means.
Okay. Figured
it's
music podcast guy would know music, but...
It's not that time of the month. I don't know what you're saying.
Styles is working in the cafeteria kitchen. He approaches Jimmy Jack with a proposition.
Hey, how come he doesn't have a job?
Who?
Murph.
I don't know.
You're not required to.
But he seems like a guy that would want to have a job. I don't know.
I think you just have to interact with people.
Yeah.
Like that's why Styles is like breaking the wall of the Jericho of Murphy's heart. Like that's kind of, I was trying to think on the second rewatch, like what is the whole concept of the title of this movie? And that seems to be what it's alluding to. I'm not really well versed in biblical stuff, but I guess it is a battle way back in the Bible where the army marched around and continuously did that, chanted, and brought down the walls of the Jericho city. And that seems to be what it is about Murphy's heart and allowing him to be more human again. And Styles is the one like starting to really chip away at it by being a runner with him and giving him someone to, forced to be friends with. And I think it is a really sweet relationship that you see evolve in this movie.
Yeah. I think, having a job, as we see in this, kind of, it involves you in prison politics, because if you have a job, someone's going to ask you for something eventually. And I think all the things we learn about Murphy throughout the film, it's like, that's probably one of the reasons he doesn't have a job, because he just doesn't want to be involved in that shit at all.
He doesn't need anything, so he doesn't need to anything for the commissary.
Yeah, what are you getting in 70 Twinkies and shit?
Yeah, that was before processed food, so it's probably just like cigarettes and T-bones.
I mean, you are not making this place sound bad to me.
You get to work out all the time.
Surrounded by beautiful men.
Yeah. Run really fast.
Yeah, so Styles approaches Jimmy Jack with a proposition. If the Bluebirds can work it out to where Styles' conjugal visit gets moved up, he can give them some sugar for their pruno. And Jimmy Jack tells Styles it's a done deal. As Styles walks through the cafeteria, the members of the Black Gorilla family give us a little backstory on him. He transferred in from San Quentin a few months ago, and he works in the grocery room of the number 2 mess hall.
A man in a position like that can do a great deal to enhance the political economy of Africans in this joint. You know what I mean?
I love how this guy talks.
Yeah. He's very much like
a Malcolm X type.
Everything like I say,
speech cadence,
I heard in a book, or I read in a book.
Yes. It all comes back to the brotherhood and like furthering the African agenda.
And so the leader of the BGF, Cotton, He tells one of his associates to go talk to Styles to see if they can recruit him. And Styles tells Murphy about the scheme he's worked out for his conjugal visit. Murphy tells him to do whatever he wants before being called over the loudspeaker to report to counseling. Jankowski runs down the reports on Murphy.
Refuses all visits, no family contact, no TV, no job. No commissary credit. What's going on here? Why?
I don't need any of that.
And when you run, do you pretend you're outside the walls? Where does it take you? In wheat fields, beach?
I'm here. I'm nowhere else. I'm here. I belong here, in this place. I am convicted. Murder 1. I did it.
The worst.
It
Now,
is.
I am doing my own time.
Wow.
I mess with no one. No one messes with me. I did what I did. It's over. That's it.
And this is something Michael Mann talks about as sort of like the impetus for him wanting to do this story is when he was at Folsom Prison. He saw a guy that was more like Styles and had pictures all over his cell of like his wife and his kids. And Michael Mann knew that like that's the hardest time to do because you're looking forward to something that may or may not ever come. And it's something that James Caan talks about in Thief a lot of like the only way to get through this is to not give a shit about anything and pretend that the outside world doesn't exist. So again, seeing these continuous themes from Mann very early on in this, his directorial feature-length debut.
It is, the criminal mindset, which is very interesting. I've never been arrested, so I've never spent a night in jail. I don't know that feeling. I wouldn't know how to really act, long term. I would like to imagine you could better yourself, go to school, work out the body, try to further enhance your mind. But it is, under state rule, federal law, you're crushed. You can't watch a movie at any time you want. You can't go outside, get a cheesesteak.
Yep.
It's very limiting.
Yeah, it's suicide by blanket in that cell for me, bro. My first night. Yeah. I'm not doing hard time, guys. I am beautiful. I shave my legs. They look like woman legs, dude.
Not going to last 10 minutes in the yard.
No. Like, you guys want to play kickball or something?
Handball,
Stab
maybe.
that guy. Shank that dude. And then shag him.
So Murphy doesn't want to talk about it, and Jankowski tells Murphy that a couple of runners from Sacramento State will be coming to the prison, and he asks Murphy if he'd be willing to show them around and run with them. He's playing coy. He doesn't want to tell Murphy the real reason behind having him run with these guys. Styles meets up with the dangerous Dr. D to discuss their deal. Dr. D simply says, "You got it." And Styles asks Dr. D what the cost of this deal is. And Dr. D is very non-committal. He says, "Hey, I'm doing this for you. If it'll make you feel better to give me some sugar for my Pruno, hey, go ahead. But, maybe I come ask you for a favor in the future." Very Marlon Brando in The Godfather type shit.
Yeah. Dennehy is really laying it thick. It's already sweaty. I love that he's like leaning. He's totally sitting on these metal railings and it sags.
Yes.
When he puts his body on there and gets up. Yeah.
Chewing gum, wearing transition lenses.
I mean, he's chewing the scenery.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just like, it pulls me out a little bit because in a movie filled with actual inmates, it is very obvious to me that like Brian Dennehy knows nothing about any of this and is just, I don't know, like mimicking what he saw in Superfly or The Mac or like some blaxploitation film.
He seems to be having fun, so I'm all for it. Like he's got those crazy, like a lot of the times he is just going for 11.
Yeah. It's a weird.
I don't think it's that bad.
So he's not the only one. Like, I did a lot of the performances in this the first time I watched this, I felt were stilted, but the more I watch it, the more I warm up to it. And the further you get into the movie, the more I warmed up to it as well.
Yeah. I definitely agree with, is it Peter Strauss as
Yes.
Murphy? There's times later on where I don't know if I totally believe like all the anger, but then when he does the emotional turn, it's really well done. But I think there's a lot of genuine TV 70s acting. Like, I can't judge a lot to it because it's like, it's the total right vibe. I think Man was always really good about being able to like pick people who definitely felt natural.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing is like, you watch something like this or Thief, and my gut reaction the first time to watching it is like, yeah, that guy's clearly not an actor. But then you circle back around to like, okay, that's more realistic because people in real life, they don't say things perfectly. They stumble over sentences, even if they're not scripted. And so it is like, it's something I warm up to over time with these Michael Mann movies.
I think you're coming into your manhood, Chris.
I am.
We're locked up together here in this pod, and I think we're sharing some feelings and we're getting places.
Life and from motherfucking now on.
Have we already had our like first like back and forth with these two?
Which
or
two?
Is that Murph and Stroud? Is Stroud not Stroud? That's his last name.
Murphy and Styles.
Styles, yeah.
No, we are just at the part where they make that deal. Styles knows it's bad news, but there's not much he can do about it at this point. And as Murphy and Styles are walking through the cell block, they get jumped by the Black Gorilla family. One of them says,
"What are you, Frankenstein's mama? The blob? The fly?"
Good shit. But they're pissed that Styles went to the Bluebirds and not to them for help, because that cuts the BGF out of the benefits of having an inside man at the grocery store. And so this, I think, is that first, where we get to that first back and forth between Murphy and Styles.
Okay.
You do have the leader there also saying, "You've been knocking on my window, now you're beating on my door." I think that's a really good line, too.
It's good shit.
There's some great shit in there.
Yeah.
Authentic.
It really is.
And so Murphy and Styles are having an argument about this whole Pruno conjugal visit situation. Murphy basically tells Styles he's an idiot for doing this in the first place. He's now indebted to the Bluebirds. The BGF is pissed. And Styles points out that it's easy for Murphy to say this because Murphy doesn't care about anything and doesn't want anything, so he doesn't have to resort to these desperate sorts of measures.
I think this is great because he has a line here where he's like, "Man, I am into nothing." Me too, bro. I wish.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing of the difference in them, the way they do time is, Styles is doing this hardest time, and there's a very overwrought dramatic line from him about this later, but it's like that's the only thing that's keeping Murphy sane is just doing exactly what Styles insults him for, which is just going through the motions every day, running
Having
this track.
a routine.
Yeah.
Right. We don't know how long Styles is going to be there. We don't know what he's in for. We find out about Murphy later, but the whole idea of him being a lifer as well is like he has to like completely block out the whole concept of life outside of here. He knows he's not going to escape. And so he is also, probably a giant amount of PTSD based on the crime that he's guilty of. I don't know if I would necessarily think this guy needs to be a lifer. I think he could, rehabilitate 12 years. That'd be fine. Murder 1, it wasn't really premeditated, was it? Didn't seem like it.
The way he tells it, no.
No.
Yeah. Also, being a friend to him is probably really tough for him as well. Like I like this fucking guy, and I'm a guy who shouldn't have friends because that's not what I'm here for.
Well, I think Murph kind of was saying this earlier, is that it seemed like Styles is the type of person that just like forces him to be your friend.
Right.
Like
He's
they
right
live next to each other, and it's like, that's just who Styles is.
I don't think Styles seemed to be like he wanted to be part of the gang, and he sees this loner who's just running, and he's like, well, I'll just kind of do this with him. And Styles is also, when like they invite the guys, like, if they want to show up, we'll run when I'm running. Okay, that's how we'll do it.
The next morning, the Sacramento State coach, Jerry Beloit, played by Ed Lauder from Death Wish 2, shows up, or is that 3? I think that's 3. Shows up with a couple runners, and Murphy smokes these schoolboy bitches. And not only that, but Murphy's time was about 4 seconds off of Frank Davies' best time this year. And Frank Davies is the second fastest mile runner in the United States. Imagine what Murphy could do on a real track with a decent pair of shoes.
I do also like that the coach is saying, I told my boys to let him take the race until the final lap and then smoke him, and it still doesn't work.
Yeah, I kind of love how much Beloit, the Ed Lauder character, just treats Murphy as like a human being. There is no scene of them talking about like, what are you in for? Or some shit like that you would see in most movies. It's just kind of like, hey, like, we both love running. Running's the shit. Like, let's bond over that. The closest we get
is the why are you doing this scene later on. It is just like, for love of the game, basically.
Runner, she's a runner, yeah.
Beloit asks when he and Murphy can start training. Murphy's blindsided by this. He storms off when he's told that they want him to participate in the OAU Nationals, the race that qualifies runners for the Olympics. Forget it, man. No way. Not me. I won't do that. And the warden is confused by why Murphy doesn't want to run. And Jankowski tells him it's because he's a lifer. He tries to pretend that the outside world does not exist. While all of this is going on, Styles is in a little courtyard area awaiting his conjugal visit. He sits down at a table next to a bluebird, and a woman runs up to Styles pretending to be his wife. Over his shoulder, the bluebird tells Styles, your wife couldn't make it, just play it cool. It's a very important type thing that you don't screw this up.
Uh-oh.
The woman tells Styles that she's got 2 balloons for him, but he refuses to be the diabolical Dr. D's drug mule and storms off. I mean, that's got to be a kick in the nuts. You think you're getting laid, but actually you got to shove 2 balloons of drugs up your ass.
Ain't gonna happen, sweet meat.
That's right. The fake wife, she ditches the drugs in the courtyard and runs out of the prison, but she's arrested by the prison guards. And
can't play it cool. And they're also saying in here, you get like 48 hours.
Yeah.
That's bad, guys. That's pretty nice. Yeah. I don't think they do conjugal visits anymore.
I think it may be a state by state or even facility by facility type thing. Mm-hmm. So back in their cells, Styles tells Murphy about the situation. They both know that Styles is fucking cooked. The Bluebirds are going to be after him. Murphy tells Styles that he's got to get into isolation, and Styles says he wouldn't be able to handle it. Murphy asks,
hey, Mr. Styles, are you going to tell me they invented the hard time you can't handle, huh?
And this is a line that is repeated nearly verbatim by Dennis Haysbert's character in Heat.
Ain't a hard time been invented that I cannot handle.
When you've struck gold, you know it. You got to keep going back to it.
It's amazing because it's like he didn't even come up with it. He heard some convict say it, and he's like, this is my entire personality now. They joke a bit about who's going to coach Murphy to win the Olympics.
He didn't want to do it, but he was like, you know what? Yeah, it works. Like, yeah, let's leave it.
Fucking good. They joke a bit about who's going to coach Murphy to win the Olympics if Styles isn't around. Styles breaks down.
Dreams, expectations, they never happen, man. They're the worst. The worst. Nothing happens.
And so that was one of the lines where I'm like, this is really melodramatic. Like, this is a TV movie, right?
You gotta hook them in. This is for grandma.
These two conversations that they have with each other are just like, was a guard standing outside the cells and being like, what the fuck are you guys talking about?
Yeah. And so this is one of those moments I was talking about where it's like the first time I'm like, I don't know about all that. I've warmed up to it since, but it's a little, I don't know, like roots the next generation.
But we do lead into one of the most like badass parts of it and emotions.
Yeah, because Murphy is like, the 4:00 unlock is coming up. As soon as our cells come open, you make a break for it. But the Bluebird mailman walks by Murphy's cell right as unlock is about to happen, and he puts a padlock on Murphy's cell, and Styles is cornered by the Bluebirds, and he gets shanked. Murphy finds his best friend dead, and Murphy falls apart.
The way the body is laid out, he's on his belly and like bent up on the chain link fence. And when he pulls him out, it's the picture of his wife and his baby. And it is a good emotional scene from Peter Strauss.
Yeah, so he does Styles. There is this line that is basically Dennis Haysbert's character's line in Heat. And much like in Heat, every time I watch this, I feel like one of the good marks of a good movie is no matter how much you know what's going to happen, you still like, don't fucking do it. It's not worth it. That's how I feel when I watch Heat. That's how I feel when I watch this movie. Is just like, I know where this is going. I'm hoping it turns out differently, and it never does. Dennis Haysbert always dies, and Styles always dies. It's good shit.
I guess I didn't think of it that way. Yeah, you do kind of feel that way through Heat.
Yeah, I fucking love that movie. Dennis Haysbert is probably my favorite part of that movie. It's just like this weird little thing that's happening in the background that meets up with the main storyline.
The way he quits his job, great.
Fuck it. And then he fucking dies, and his wife sees it on the news.
I didn't see Heat until after 24, so it was like, oh shit, President Palmer's a prisoner. This is great.
I mean, I probably saw it in like 2018 for the first time, so I'm just like, what? Like, the Allstate dude can act? Like, what the fuck is going on? He was in movies?
I remember having the double VHS of that.
Yeah, you clearly had a better childhood than I did.
That was a twofer? Wow.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
My dad, obsessed with Last of the Mohicans, loves that movie, man.
Still haven't seen it. That's the new name of this podcast. Still haven't seen it.
Yeah.
But if you ask me about some direct-to-video Japanese monster movie directed by some guy who fell off the face of the earth 6 months later, I've seen that.
Twice.
With commentary.
I own it on every physical format. So, yeah, dreams, expectations, he gets stabbed. And Murphy goes to Jankowski's office and he says, you want me to run? I'll run, but you got to do something for me in return. And what he wants is 30 minutes alone in the Metal Industries workshop, and he gets it. Metal Industries is Bluebird's territory, and they're pissed when the guard tells them to leave. Once Murphy's alone, he starts trashing the place. He finds the Bluebird's money stash, and he marches right into the yard and sets it on fire for everyone to see, including the dastardly Dr. D.
So it's $3,700.
That's a shit ton of money.
1979. 16 grand 2025. That's a lot of cigarettes. It's a lot of mackerel in 2025.
I mean, I didn't look it up, but I feel like $3,700 is in 79. That might be like a yearly wage for like a fast food worker or someone in a service industry. It's a shit ton of money.
I'd say that's probably a little low, but yeah, that would be right about there. Yeah. Part-time, enough to get like a shitty, by the month apartment furnished.
Brian Dennehy says, "I'm talking to a dead man." Also a line basically used again in Heat. And Murphy's training with Beloit, who gives Murphy a stopwatch, courtesy of Jankowski. And an inscription on the back reads, "To the Jericho Mile." And Beloit says, "Maybe it's got to do with the walls come tumbling down."
This is a little awkward. Why can't Jeffrey Lewis just give it to him and maybe explain what he's meaning on the back of the watch? But no, we just like kind of blaze by it.
Yeah. So, I mean, this movie was shot in 19 days. That's probably part of it. Jeffrey Lewis probably did like a day and a half and was like, "See you later." But it is interesting to me. I mean, would you guys agree that like stylistically, apart from like leaving the script aside, if you were just to watch this, it doesn't necessarily feel like a Michael Mann movie. And part of that could be he wasn't fully formed as a director because this is his debut, feature-length debut. But also, I mean, a lot of that probably has to do with the abridged shooting schedule. I think some of it still does come through in ways that, other big directors maybe didn't accomplish. I mean, if you watch the John Carpenter Elvis movie, for similar reasons of the quick shooting schedule, you probably would watch that like I did and be like, there's no piece of John Carpenter in this. I mean, does this feel like a Mann movie, even ignoring the script to you guys?
I guess cinematically, like the way the camera, I would not think of it as a Mann movie, but I think it is all just like the themes. Like I was talking earlier about masculinity and growth, crime in there, it being more than like the actions that you do, having the multitude. Like that's all what Mann has all been obsessed about. And I think he, grew into his voice, especially with Thief being the next thing. And like Thief has such a strong voice of a director and a style that then gets moved into Miami Vice and it becomes a whole cultural thing. So I think he had something. It is a bit hard to do that in a prison movie about running. Like that is the limitation. You talk about shooting schedule, but it is also part of the script. It's a bit more difficult to make this a more stylistic version.
Yeah, I'd say the detail is there. But if you put them side by side, like your eyes are going to Thief no matter what. Yeah. And I think maybe like Thief is, here's my chance. This is what I want it to be. This is how it's going to look. We're going to throw these blues on there and we're going to fucking make it look badass. So I don't know. I don't really see it. I mean, like I said, character detail is there doing what he could do. But yeah, Thief is just, this is my stamp. I've arrived. I'm here. Hear me roar. I'm Michael Mann.
Yeah, because I think the other big director, I think about, Michael Mann has this. John Carpenter had a few TV movies that were not before Halloween, but were basically the same time. He has, Someone's Watching Me and Elvis, starring Kurt Russell. And then you have Steven Spielberg with Duel. And I think that it's interesting that given the limitations, like even it's a testament to how strong Mann and Spielberg are. It's like, it may not be a 1-to-1. Like, yeah, Duel isn't Jaws. The Jericho Mile isn't Heat, but you can still see some authorial stamp on it where I feel like it's just not, with something like Elvis, it's like, yeah, this is not a John Carpenter movie at all. And I wonder what the difference is because, neither Carpenter nor Spielberg are necessarily writers. So you don't get like their stamp in the script.
Yeah, and it's an interesting, I wouldn't think of Carpenter as a for hire, but then
right.
I haven't seen the Elvis movie, so I can't really comment on that, but it is an interesting thing of just like your limitations, and especially with a network, like you have certain things you have to hit upon and that you cannot hit upon.
Yeah. And it's like, well, does that, even though I don't think Michael Mann is any of our favorite directors, like, does that make him one of the greats?
I would say so. I would think he's on the bottom of my list, but I think there are people out there who would say that he's on the top, and I can't disagree with them. Like, he does have some great bangers in there, but I think I keep coming back to is at some point he has a voice that just it resonates and people pick up on it. People style themselves after the characters that he's created. I think there's no other way to not put him on the top 10 American male directors of the 20th century.
Dan looks like he has something to say.
I think he's a very forgotten director. Because people are like, well, there's Kubrick, there's this, there's that. And then it's like, well, there's Mann. Oh, shit. Yeah, I forgot about Mann. So I would say top 15. And I say that because yes, he has his crime. He has Thief. He has Heat. He does crime very well. But like Ali, he does fucking Public Enemies, a John Dillinger movie.
Ferrari.
Yeah. I mean, he's taken on Formula One and basically one of the guys that created it. So yeah, just he can do basically anything you ask him to. I mean, that's kind of, is he the jack of all trades? Maybe not, but.
Are we going to invite him to do a rom-com now?
That's exactly what I was going to ask. Could he do a rom-com?
Is he going to do
Ferrari?
a reboot of...
You change some music in Ferrari, he might have a rom-com there with Penelope.
He could do a remake of the 50 Shades. What are those movies called? Gray? Something.
50 Shades of Grey.
There you go.
Yeah, I was just thinking
business.
The setup for all rom-coms is some woman owns a pastry business. I think Michael Mann would get sidetracked and study under some French pastry chef for 3 years, and that's what the movie might become about.
He's a man, detail the details and that's something that I love with directors. So he's always been Ferrari. They're it looks all right. I'm watching fucking Ferrari. It's Michael Mann. It's for how are you not, how are people not excited about this
every time? It definitely feels like it is his own singular vision, but it is something that has already been existing that he's just showing us.
Yeah. I think that is a big, we've kind of had that problem, Coppola with, Megalopolis, people are just yeah, who cares? It's Killers of the Flower Moon doesn't do very well. It's what are people doing? I don't know. I guess maybe that's just us being older movie fans and are oh, fuck, Cronenberg's putting out Crimes of the Future. Fuck yeah. Maybe that's just our generation, I guess. I don't know. But it seems nobody fucking cares. And it's nobody wants to pick up Megalopolis. It's it's Coppola. What are you talking about? Why wouldn't you? Yeah, you're not going to give him a fucking blank check, but at least put the movie out. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to quantify. It's like, what is the difference between someone like Michael Mann, who I feel it's like he's made some of my favorite movies, but it's like I'm not necessarily like if I hear he's coming out with a new one, I'm not like a little bit trepidatious about it, and maybe will not
You're
care
not
about the theaters
for Heat 2.
Not
that's
at all.
The plan. He wrote the book. It's out there. They've casted Driver and Butler? Isn't that the pairing?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know Gerard Butler was in it. That's fucking awesome. I want to see it now.
Austin Butler.
Oh, I'm back to not wanting to see it anymore. God,
They
if
could
you could
throw
have
Gerard
Gerard
in there.
Butler being fucking Robert De Niro, holy shit.
He actually plays Hank Azaria.
Yeah, I just like I don't know, it's the intangibles of like, I feel like a Scorsese, very rarely do I give a shit about the stories he's telling on paper, but I gotta, like, The Irishman is probably the longest movie I've ever seen. And it's like, I'm willing to put myself through that for this guy that has built up this goodwill. It seems like Michael Mann has built up just as much goodwill, but there's just that something that keeps me from being excited about the next Mann project.
I'm wondering if it is even like commercialization, because it has been a while, I guess, since like a real big hit. Ferrari, I think, did fine, but I mean, Black Hat was a huge disappointment, and Public Enemies was fine, but I think Miami Vice, another huge disappointment.
You could do the same with Cronenberg, I guess.
Yeah,
totally. I mean,
you have
and
a history of
valleys.
violence that is nominated oddly for Oscars, and then, not saying it's not good, but it's just kind of a weird thing to jump in. Like, that's the Cronenberg you chose. But
yeah, I mean, I think that's an apt comparison for me, because The Fly is probably top 3 horror movies, but for me, I still haven't seen his new Crimes of the Future, or like, I don't know. It's like, I don't care that much.
I think it depends on who you. I've always been a director's guy. Like, I try to watch a whole filmography. I don't know if Murph's like that as well. Seem like you are, but
I do try, but I have not seen all of the Cronenbergs. But it's usually, if something new comes out, I'll try to make an effort. Like, I do like to try to watch as much as I can.
Mm-hmm. And maybe that's just us. Like, but I'm also a big respect guy of, okay, like, yeah, this guy knows what he's fucking doing. Look at his track record. Like, why not? Why aren't people sitting down to watch this? So, I mean, it's a different generation, man.
Yeah.
We watched fucking TikTok videos. We can't focus.
All my favorite directors are dead, so that's probably what it is. I think the last director where I was like, I'm going to see his shit was probably Refn, and I fell off of that pretty quickly. He's also just like kind of not doing any movies.
That's true. He moved to like a mini series, which I didn't watch, but then he was in Death Stranding. That's the other thing he did.
Where did you get off at Only God Forgives?
No, I saw that in theaters. I wasn't super high on it the first time I saw it, but I have warmed up to it a little bit. I think it's better than I initially thought. But has he come out with any movies since then?
So you were out at Neon Demon.
No, I saw that and liked it.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
That's the last one I remember.
I liked it. I really liked it. Demon.
I think I might have been out in Jodorowsky's Dune when he was like, I'm the only one that's ever seen it, because I can picture it so clearly in my mind. Also, he was talking about remaking Maniac Cop for a long time, and Larry Cohen is one of my favorite directors, and I'm like, man, if there's one person that I would not choose to remake Maniac Cop, it's you, dude.
Yeah, I can see that.
But Pusher trilogy, good shit.
Mercy's like, have I seen this guy's shit?
I know Reffin.
All right. Relax, man.
I'll stab you in the yard.
Calm down, Murph. You're so mad right now.
I'll sick Brian Dennehy on you.
I'm talking to a dead man.
Talking about a dead man. R.I.P. 2022.
He died in Tommy Boy, dude.
There's a problem with the race. Murphy can't be furloughed until he's qualified for the Olympic trials, but he can't qualify for the Olympic trials without running in an OAU-sanctioned race. They're going to have to run an OAU race inside the prison, and in order to do this, the warden tries to recruit inmates as labor to build the track. But of course, the dreadful Dr. D will not stand for this. He asks the other prison gangs to boycott building the track. He says it's political with Murphy, and Rubio, the leader of the Mexican mafia, says as long as it's political, they're going to respect the boycott.
They love Cesar Chavez. They respect the politics.
Cotton and the BGF meet with the devilish Dr. D and the Bluebirds to inquire about the death of Styles. Dr. D admits that he did kill Styles, but that punching that dude's ticket was righteous. And Cotton says that recruiting Styles was an overstep, but Dr. D lies, and he tells Cotton that it was Murphy who recruited Styles.
This is the scene where I think Dennehy is doing the best, crazy eyes. To match Cotton's energy. But he's also just you want to go for it? Let's have a race war. I'd love to do it.
Yeah.
I want to stab all of you. Let's go for it.
Cotton calls Murphy into the laundry room, and the BGF jumps Murphy. Cotton kicks the shit out of Murphy, but Murphy refuses to tap out. He says,
I didn't hear no bell.
That's exactly, I said that last night when I was rewatching it. He says, I'm going to nail you. You badmouthed my friend. The man was my brother. And the BGF realizes that if Murphy is willing to take all this punishment, well, they've been had by Dr. D. And Cotton helps Murphy up out of the laundry room. Cotton tells Rubio that this thing between the Bluebirds and Murphy is all bullshit. It's not political. And the BGF and the Mexican Mafia decide they're going to break the track construction picket line. Cotton and Rubio pull an I'm Spartacus routine, and there's an all-out brawl between the Bluebirds, the Mexican Mafia, and the BGF. And the next day,
I don't think they're saying Spartacus, but it is
Spartacus
it is
with
scene.
A hard R.
Yeah.
The track construction project is well underway by the next morning. During another counseling session with Jankowski, the doctor asks Murphy why he killed his father. Murphy doesn't want to talk about it, but he relents and explains. Go ahead.
It's just very funny that Jeffrey Lewis, early on when the coach is coming in, is like, all right, let's start him training. And they're like, whoa. We wanted to ease him in. We hadn't told him any of this before.
Yeah.
And then in this meeting, he's just like, so why'd you kill your father? Let's just cut the bullshit, man.
And Murphy doesn't want to talk about it, but he explains that
he was drunk, okay? And he was bashing my stepsister. And she's 14 years old. And he is bashing her all the time. And I walk in on him, and there he is. And I know, man, this stops. I mean, he was an animal. So I know this is gonna end. And if it puts me in here for the rest of my life, then that's okay, because somebody has got to stop this, you see? Somebody has got to stop this bad seed. It has got to stop. They told me that I shot him over and over again. And if it put me in here, then that's okay. I mean, I did what I had to do.
I think all of my misgivings about Peter Strauss the first time I was watching this were assuaged in this scene. I mean, how did you guys feel about it?
It's so heartbreaking, the anger, which I think he does okay with, but it really is the emotional breakdown of him remembering his father being a good person and carrying him around all days on his shoulder, teaching him how to shoot. But even that, like, he's remembering the specific memory and how the son is in the moment. Like, he's selling it so well. It really is heartbreaking to the point where I'm like, let's let him out. He seems to he's gonna beat himself up more than anything. And it is a circumstance of a crime of passion, you know. Free Murphy, free Murphy, free Murphy.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I do like how they do, like, let's do shitty part and then give a beautiful description of a day that he spent with, like, okay, he was being an actual father that day. So he has those two. And then at least he has a good memory, I guess, of who he was.
Yeah, which I think is contributing a lot to the PTSD of it. Of like, he is so guilty about it and understanding how much he loved him, even though, like, as we find out again, like, he would do it again because he was being a horrible father.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the way it is in real life. Like, it's just like very few people on this earth are purely good or purely evil. So it does ring true. It's like, yeah, when he was sober, he was a good dad. He was a good person. And like you guys said, he does a very good job of portraying that conflicted feelings in this scene. It's this is why he won the Emmy for Outstanding Actor in original whatever the fuck it was called.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
Oh, yeah. So this is a 3 Emmy
winning,
award-winning made-for-TV movie.
Nominated for 5, I think?
Yeah. So it's interesting. This is, like I mentioned earlier, a story that ABC had that Michael Mann rewrote the script for. The guy who wrote the original story for it, let me find the name real quick. Patrick J. Nolan, he wrote for this and appeared in the Emmy Awards that he won an Emmy for and did nothing else. He is into nothing.
Go out on top, baby.
Yeah.
You see this? I did it. That's what that
Dan,
is.
that was a dildo?
Oh. Where's my Emmy?
Proud of you, Dan.
So when I put
you did the dragon.
It was gold plated at least.
Yeah, I'll sit on it later if you guys want to watch that. The Emmy, not the dildo.
Yeah. 2 days later, it's Race Wars. Hector is running 3 Honda Civics with spoon engines. And on top of that, he just went into Harry's and bought 3 T66 turbos with NOS and a Motec exhaust system. There is my Fast and Furious joke.
Okay.
Not big Paul Walker guys, I'm guessing.
Okay.
Good night, everybody.
I'm not a comedian like Dan. I can't pull it off.
It was good. It was good. I got it.
But yeah, the BGF and the Mexican Mafia break the picket line. There's an all-out race war. 6 people go to the hospital. It's some shit.
It's good TV violence. I do love there's just the guy in the spouse beater shirt with just red spots everywhere. There's no holes, but there's just the red spots.
I think we call them life partner beating shirts now. Murph.
Okay. Right.
I think you used the word there, TV violence, yes.
Adult situations.
There's a lot of guys kind of like falling on each other. And
it's good shaky cam, though.
It's like 28 weeks later over here.
At least it's film, okay?
Yeah.
That's true.
So the OAU is there. The black and brown inmates are out in force to cheer Murphy on. It's a close race, but Murphy comes out on top.
Before that, there is the photographer taking pictures who's about to walk over the chalk line, and I love the giant prisoner that just picks him up. That's gotta be one of the real prisoners that were okay, you
probably
have a look that I want you to be in my movie.
He definitely read that way. I don't want to say for sure because it feels like weird to say, oh, that dude looks like a convict if they weren't. But he does look like Birdie from Street Fighter Alpha. He's got the mutton chops.
Right.
He's at
Bald
least
with
6'5".
mutton chops. Yeah. Very bulky.
Yeah. Suspenders. He looks the part and totally emasculates the OAU judge. But in this race, it's close. Murphy comes out on top with a time of 3:52.09. But of course, there's more problems. The OAU has called Murphy, Beloit, Jankowski, and the warden in for a hearing. And
before we move right past the race, I do really like the sound design that he does in this, is that like everyone's cheering and it drops to just them breathing and the footprints. It is really just really nice, and like that why you can see he had a career after this, that they're like, oh, we should give him more money, let him do what he wants to do.
Yeah. And is a callback to a little bit of a callback to a conversation between Murphy and Beloit when they first meet, of like getting into this runner's zone and nothing else matters and you're floating.
It all just drops out.
Yeah. There's a hearing. At the hearing, some decrepit piece of shit from the OAU explains that their organization is privately funded. They're concerned about the optics of having a convicted murderer representing the U.S. in the Olympics. And he asks Murphy if he feels that he's been rehabilitated, if he's sorry. If he were in the same circumstances, in the same place, would he commit the crime again? And, you know, Murphy's just being talked at and around by all of these people. He realizes that this dude already had his mind made up.
Yeah, he is being talked at and around, but what I do also love is that man decides to focus on him and like the boiling over in him, and you could just see it start the simmering. Mm-hmm. And I think the judge, head, tribunal guy, whatever, like picks up on it, and like that's what he's focusing on. But it is a really nice directorial decision. So like normally you would cut to whoever's talking or reaction, but you just want to focus on Murphy, the real center of the scene.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for time and budget limitations, as a general rule, there's not a lot of camera movement going on in this, but it's things like this where you realize like, yes, man was considering shots and not just doing shot reverse shot every time there's a conversation.
Right.
I think this shows Murphy's patience as well with it, because you would think he would just be like, fuck this and get up and walk away. But I think he gives it all right, let me sit through this at least. I don't know. Kind of shows his character a little, the type of guy he is.
Yeah, because it's like Murph was saying, we get, close-ups of him absorbing this, and it's like he's gonna hear him out, but then you see it, there's a point where it's like, all right, well, I already know what this is, fuck it.
Even before breakfast, you were playing a game. You knew I would not run,
and that's what it turns out to be. Murphy says,
man, I hate what happened, but I will not repudiate what happened. And I won't repudiate myself, because all I've got is my name and my face. In the same place, in the same time, in the same conditions, I would blow him away all over again. You got that? Good, man, you are a snake. You wouldn't last 10 minutes in the yard. Not 10 minutes.
And he could have easily just said, like, yeah, I'm rehabilitated, I'm remorseful. But it's something Michael Mann talks about, of like, these people in the system have this code of honor, and he's just like, he's not going to lie about it. Like, yeah, my dad was fucking beating on my sister. I would fucking kill him again if I had the chance.
At some point, it becomes, I need to be my authentic self. And like, that's all I have. Like, when everything else, all my freedoms have been stripped from me, like my word, my bond, me being my truthful being is all I have. So that's what's going to happen.
Jail rules, baby. Like, loyalty first, all the bullshit second.
If you can't do the crime, don't do the time. Or if you can't do the time, don't do the crime. God. Michael Mann's spinning in his grave right now, even though he's not dead.
He's still, yeah.
He's still trying
Fingers
to
crossed.
Pre-production.
Yeah, fingers crossed. We get Heat 2. So, of course, because of that, Murphy doesn't get to go for the Olympic qualification race. But that does not stop him. The day of the race, as the inmates listen to the coverage on the radio, Murphy goes out to the yard, the spinning stones kicks in, and Murphy gets set and runs the qualifying race by himself inside the prison walls. And according to his stopwatch, he beats that bastard Frank Davies.
Fuck yeah.
The inmates are going nuts, and Murphy chucks the stopwatch at the prison wall, and it shatters. Credits. The Jericho Mile.
Freeze frame. Zoom in.
That's how you know it's the 70s.
Dissolve. Credits, yes.
Every trick in the book. How do you guys feel? Is this a happy ending or is this a sad ending?
I think it's a happy ending for Murphy here. I mean, he heard it. He probably didn't want to hear it. I love that this is in Folsom Prison. This is a story that's happening, and anywhere else, nobody gives a fuck about it. Any runner, U.S. Olympic runners or times or anything. But at Folsom, this is what's happening right now. This is the hotness. So, yeah, I think it's a victory for him. Of course, he's going through hearing what the time was, and he's like, I can fucking beat that. Like, let me fucking beat it. I'm not going to get to prove it on the big stage, so I'll do it here. And he knows he did it. He does his time, and I mean, he probably dies in prison, and
Yep.
he gets his shoes, I guess. I don't know. Maybe his stepsister.
It is bittersweet in the idea of he definitely would have won and gone on to the Olympics. It's sad that he doesn't get to do that, but that he does understand that he has that within himself. And it is interesting of the inspiration. Kind of think what Jeffrey Lewis is talking about a lot of if we have someone like Murphy, that's more than, 15 years of budget for, counseling or whatever. Is we need someone to be able to inspire them to be the best that they can be and to, really try to focus themselves. And I don't know if he actually does that. We're not seeing anybody running with him when he's right afterwards or, right before he does the time trial. I want things to be better for him, but it is just so tragic that he knows that he is better, but the world doesn't. It doesn't care. He is a convict, and they're going to judge him regardless of his abilities.
Yeah, but do you think that matters to him? I don't think that matters to him. I am into nothing.
I think for him, but that is a coping mechanism that he is using to get through the punishment that he's having to go through. It's still tragic to us, and it is all perspective of being able to look at it of he is better than this, and he can do it. It's just he's not able to. He's being railroaded.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, bittersweet was the word I was going to use, but I feel like it's a lot more bitter than it is sweet because it's on the one hand, he's a world-class distance runner, but it's this is something that James Caan talks about in Thief. It's time means something different to people on the inside. They don't measure it in months or years because you can't get through it if you're looking at it that way. So when he throws the stopwatch, to me, that's kind of fuck time, fuck dreams, fuck expectations. I'm going back to what was previously my status quo, which is if you want to take a very bleak look towards it, just waiting to die is what he's doing. So it's yeah, he can beat Frank Davies, but who cares? He's still a lifer. Like, he's going to spend the rest of his life in prison. And that makes it worse, knowing that he could have done something. I don't know. It's like the Rolling Stones music. It seems triumphant, but I don't feel like it's that happy of an ending.
Was it Can't Get No Satisfaction?
Still sympathy for the devil.
I'm the mother.
Mama's Little Helper.
Some girls.
Well, he's not as fast as a wild horse, obviously.
Sweet
or
Virginia.
Wild horse is.
Scrape that shit right off that running shoe. That's a deep cut. Sorry, guys.
Bridges Over Babylon. Is that a Rolling Stones album?
You're getting a little up there on that's a newer one.
Well, that was like on TV
90s.
all the time, like call this number to order this album. So I remember that pretty well. But yeah, I mean, that's thoughts, gentlemen. Jericho Mile, where do you guys land on this one? Like it? Hate it?
I think it's really good. I think it's not great, but I think there is a lot of potential that you see within it of an artist who, given a little mentorship, given a little bit of money, is going to be able to really expand themselves and be able to tell, really successful, striking stories. And it is really fantastic that he had a really beautiful stepping stone. It is so tragic of a story, but I think it really is a very genuine, interesting story to tell.
Yeah, it's good. It's enjoyable. You got enough like kind of side characters with the prisoners to keep you entertained with other stuff. You're not solely on Murphy, which I think helps because he is a certain way, and that would be probably very boring.
Yeah.
You spent most of the time with him.
Nihilistic, right?
Yeah. That must be exhausting. But yeah, like I said, I think we discussed it early on. I think the detail of the character is there for man. Like I said, I think Thief is just his stamp of I've arrived. Yeah. And, but yeah, this is entertaining stuff. Would I call this like a sports movie? I don't know. I see it more as a jail movie, I guess.
Yeah.
A prison movie.
It's definitely both, but maybe like 75% prison, 25% sports.
I don't know. That's the whole point of the movie. It's got to be closer to like 60-40 if you want to put your thumb on that scale. It's a lot of prison politics, tough. But it's all about Murphy's running.
I think 70-30 is the lowest I can go.
Yeah. I'm going more prison than run here. But yeah, man, I had a good time with this. I thought it was pretty fun. I watched it twice. I didn't mind it. So it's good stuff.
I got to jump back in because I don't think we even talked about Brian Dennehy has a eye patch after the race war.
We didn't know. Yeah, he does.
Oh my God. That's such a great choice.
Still an asshole. All the way to the end.
Well, even in that scene, he's like being nice to the bald guy. He's like, you got to cover that up. Here, I'll take my hat off of my head, the shirt off of my back to my white brother so he doesn't burn the top of his head.
Yeah, I mean, I really love this movie. It's like, there's this man trilogy, Jericho Mile, Thief, and Heat. I think they worked really well together. And I always love just seeing someone so fully formed right out of the gate. It may not be one of my favorite made-for-TV movies because I have a particular set of tastes, but in Mount Rushmore, like, as quote unquote, like this is a good movie, it's certainly up there with Duel, which I also fucking love. similar for, being like a debut of one of our greats. I really like it. It is like a very odd mishmash that only could have come out in 1979. Like, I can think of Undisputed. I don't think can think of or have seen any other prison/sports movies. Certainly not about distance running.
Well, yeah, not that, but I guess The Longest Yard is probably the biggest one.
That's another one, yeah.
That it even got a remake with Sandler, and Burt Reynolds, he was the coach, I guess, in the remake, right? I think that's... Yeah,
I've only seen the remake.
The original is actually pretty good. I really enjoyed it when I saw it.
But yeah, I mean, it's just like...
Gridiron Gang? Is that The Rock?
I feel like that's The Rock teaching children or something.
Football?
Yeah, I don't know what that one...
It might have been juvie, not real prison.
But yeah, there's not a whole lot of them out there. I think it is a difficult thing to balance, especially, sports movies. Usually you like to have the underdog overcoming extreme odds to come out on top, which doesn't really happen in this one. I mean, even if you take the most positive interpretation of the ending, like, it's just an on paper thing. Like, he doesn't actually beat Frank Davies. I just think it's a really solid movie. I think more people should see it, just to sort of see what the format is capable of in the hands of someone like Michael Mann.
I agree.
And now with the re-releases, the YouTube, I feel like the one I was watching was up for like 4 years. So it's, plenty of time to get on it.
Still less than 5,000 logs on Letterboxd, which is generally my soft limit for what I will cover on this show. I mean, I feel like it's better than Miami Vice, so go watch this instead.
Guess we're not doing Citizen Kane, Murph. Fuck.
Maybe The Other Side of the Wind. That probably doesn't have a lot of reviews.
Yeah, maybe not.
I don't even know what that is.
That's his final film that he died while making. He was actually making it for years and would just get money and shoot it. It's got John Huston in it, but they finished it 25 years after his death, and Netflix put it out.
Yeah, if you ever want to know what a fucking cinematic caveman I am, so Murph and his co-host Greg were on an episode of this show to discuss Two Jakes, which is the sequel, the legacy sequel to Chinatown, which I had not seen prior to this podcast. While I was watching Chinatown, as soon as I heard John Huston speak, I was like, oh shit, that's the lawgiver from Battle for the Planet of the Apes. That's where I know John Huston from. Literally haven't seen him in nothing else, but he's the fucking lawgiver. Ape shall never kill ape.
He's also a great director.
I want to believe you, Murph, but I have no evidence that that's true. But what I will say is he can do some great exposition in the fifth movie in a franchise at the beginning, dressed up like an orangutan reading a scroll.
Great. Amazing.
Yeah. But yeah, that is the Jericho Mile. Check it out. And I wanted to thank both of you for coming on the show, breathing some new life into this dead format. But before I let you guys go, I have a game that I may or may not have put together in the last 10 minutes before us jumping on this call.
Let's do it.
I like to call it the Greenbow Mile. And so what this is there's another famous movie about a runner, Forrest Gump, from Greenbow, Alabama. And I'm going to read a review of either the Jericho Mile or Forrest Gump. And you guys just chime in buzz in with your name, and you try to guess which movie that's from. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do it.
All right. The first one from the Greenbow Mile. Flat, recycled, paper-thin plot about a guy who can run fast.
Murphy. Forrest Gump.
Sorry, that's the Jericho Mile, which I thought was kind of an insane review because it's like, oh yeah, that classic story about a lifer in Folsom Prison trying to qualify for the Olympics. Yeah. 0-0 in the Greenbow Mile. Next one. How this movie would make anyone either laugh or cry is beyond me. I normally turn off a movie after 20 minutes if it's not doing it for me. I gave it 45. It didn't improve. The put-on accent comes across as false and extremely irritating. If a movie is going to move me, it needs to wrench me, like Requiem for a Dream or Breaking the Waves, for example. I felt nothing but boredom. Dan.
Forrest Gump.
That is Forrest Gump. 1-0 in favor of Laundry Dan.
Breaking the Wave.
I don't know what that is.
Can I look that up?
It sounds familiar.
I feel like it's an anime for some reason. I don't know why. But third one, just a completely boring, bland, and basic film to the highest degree. I've got nothing else to say about this. Just lifeless.
Murph. This is Jericho Mile.
This is the Jericho Mile, 1-1, all tied up.
Shit.
And so, the next one. His accent, mannerisms, and performance was just plain unbelievably bad.
Murph. Forrest Gump.
That is Forrest Gump. 2-1 in favor of Murph. Next one in the Greenbow Mile. This movie as an awful storyline. Real, it is an awful movie. 1 give it out 10 because it is crap. This movie's so awful. Do not see it. It is a big pile of poo-poo.
Murph? I'm going to say Forrest Gump.
Oh, shit. It was Forrest Gump. 3-1 in favor of Murph, I think. And the last one, just for funsies, I'd take a green mile over any running mile.
Dan.
The
Jericho Mile.
It is. So, final score 3-2 in favor of Murph. He's the new returning champion.
Rigged.
And that was
Stop the count.
That was 1979's Jericho Mile. Thank you guys once again. Tell the fine folks out there where they can find you and anything you've got in the works.
Yes, I do the weekly podcast Massacre with my friend Greg, who's been on here before, as we've discussed. This is coming out in August, so we will be doing Anthology August. Not set on the name, but something along that lines. You can follow us wherever you get podcasts. We have weekly podcast massacre at gmail.com, both Threads and Instagram at Weekly Massacre. I am Murph and Turf both on Blue Sky and Letterboxd. So hit me up.
Yeah, well, I told you about DK and Dan like bands. Check that out. My 9 to 5 is 5DR. I'm on there with 2 beautiful, sexy, handsome, funny hosts, Kron and Bones, who are way funnier and smarter and have bigger dicks than me. We're a fun, non-genre category podcast. Check us out. You can find Chris on multiple episodes, Murph as well. They are very common in our world. So check it out. We got a big catalog, I guess.
I mean, Common's the guy who was 3 times in a row.
He chose that, okay?
I didn't choose the life chose me.
Self-inflicted.
But yeah, currently on break, but we'll be back. So you'll find us there.
Well, hell yeah. So on behalf of Murph and Laundry Dan, I'm Chris, and this has been another episode of Dead Formats. If you have any questions about the show, or if you have a dead format topic that you'd like to hear me cover, or if you have any suggestions for potential guests, please reach out. You can email me at deadformatspod@gmail.com, or you can reach out to me on Instagram at deadformatspod. Thanks for listening.
Trucks, 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 trucks.
Rodeo Ford!
Home of the 11,888 F-150.
My gosh, that's too cheap!
Over $1 billion for second chance finance.
And Rodeo Ford pays off your trade.
Even if you owe $12,000 more than it's worth.
Even if it's a lease.
11,888!
And if you can find a better deal anywhere, we'll just give it to you.
877-GO-RODEO.
5 minutes from downtown Dallas, east on I-30.
Rodeo Ford.
We don't care how you get here, folks. Just get here.